We did a series earlier this year on malpractice coverage for you and for your practice, and things to watch for and provisions that were important to understand to make sure that you had the correct amount of coverage. One of the things that we really didn't cover a whole lot was additional notifications or additional riders that may be very important to have on your malpractice coverage that may leave you exposed. And so we want to make sure that you're aware that some malpractice carriers require additional notification or additional riders for some additional services. So if you perform services that may be outside of what might be deemed as the typical chiropractic office, then you may want to give your malpractice carrier a quick shout just to make sure that you have all of the appropriate coverage. Now, some insurance companies, some of the malpractice coverage companies really focus on services that would be considered to be a different protocol in a sense. So for example, acupuncture is a really good example. Some insurance carriers require that you have a rider. Now, a lot of times that's just simply notifying them that you're doing acupuncture in your office, and it's a part of your coverage you already have, but you have to have that rider. There has to be advanced notification. So that's one. The other is if you're doing a naturopathic practices in your practice. And I'm not talking about necessarily functional medicine or nutrition or nutritional supplements. I'm talking about a furtherance, if you will, of that through naturopathy. So that's important as well to give them notification on those two major issues. Other things that come up. Are you dual licensed? Do you have a license both for maybe massage therapy and chiropractic, or acupuncture again, and chiropractic, etc.? You want to make sure that if you carry a dual license, maybe it's physical therapy, by the way, maybe you're a physical therapist and then also a chiropractic physician. You want to make sure that you're notified, that you've notified your malpractice carrier and have the appropriate riders for both licenses. That's very, very important. Lastly is this: you want to make sure that you've added your entity. So if you have a corporation, a professional service corporation, or even a limited liability company, you want to make sure that if you have a separate entity, that you have notified them of that. A lot of times it's a simple rider that includes them, but then you can choose, do you want additional coverage for your entity, or do you just want to roll them into your coverage that you already have? Regardless, those decisions also need to be made, and you want to make sure that you are fully covered, in the uneventful or in the event of an unfortunate issue that requires you to utilize your malpractice. So again, make sure you notify for acupuncture, for naturopathy, if you have a dual license, and also if you have, and many of you do, have entities that you practice under that are corporations, professional service corporation, medical corporations, and also then limited liability companies. Catch you next week.